just going to slide the wheel out. The fork from the tube. Woo! All right, welcome to the video. Basically what we're doing today is working on this 2018 Ducati Monster 1200S, and we got some issues to solve. All right, so basically the first issue is these fork seals. So if you look here, you can see that these fork seals are leaking. They've been leaking for a little while and I've been procrastinating on fixing them. So we're gonna do a complete rebuild on both of these forks. I got the fork seals, dust boots, and all the good stuff. We're gonna take the forks off the bike, take them apart, replace the seals, and fill with new fluid. All right, and then the other issue that we need to fix is this clutch. I think this is the slave, but basically I went to bleed the clutch one day and it broke off. I broke off the nipple. We got a replacement nipple, but since we have to take it off, we have to rebleed the clutch, which is a pain in the ass, but we'll get through it. Shouldn't be too bad. It's mostly just putting the bleeder on there, bleeding it from the, I guess that would be the brake master and then the slave. Shouldn't be too bad, pretty straightforward. I think we'll probably tackle that after we do the forks. This should be like icing on the cake because it should be an easy job. Hopefully no foreshadowing there, but let's get started. We got a lot to do. All right, so basically I already got the bike on the stands. First thing we're gonna do is probably take the front wheel off. Once we take the front wheel off, we're gonna do some measurements first. I think the most important thing to do would probably be to measure the, I think dampening and rebound on the shock first, and then also measure how far it is off from the perch. So that way once we do put these back on, we know exactly where they go, which would be a big help. So let's get to taking the wheel off. All right, so we got a 30mm socket. We're gonna break the nut loose. That was surprisingly light, actually. That was not a whole lot of force. All right, that came right off. Next, we're gonna tap this axle straight through. Actually, I almost forgot the most important part. I should probably loosen these pinch bolts. We'll loosen the pinch bolts on both sides, and then we'll slide the axle through. All right, bust these nuts loose, or these bolts. All right, pinch bolts are loose. Probably loosen that a little bit more. They're all covered in oil from the forks leaking, which is disgusting, but we're about to get that solved. All right, we'll do the two on this side. Bust these loose. Give it a little, this one's on there tight. All right, nice and loose. Now we're gonna push this axle through a little bit. We'll give it a little tap. Just like that. Loosen it a little bit more. Give it a little bit more tap. Oh, I fucked up. Let me put the axle back through. I'm retarded. I need to take the calipers off first. No wonder it's not going anywhere. Rookie mistake. Let's try that again. We're going to take off the bolts for the caliper first, and then probably just hang the calipers to the side, and then we'll take the wheel off. Give it a little. God damn. You're on there. All right. Take these bolts out nicely, and then we'll hang the caliper to the side. Oop. Want to lose the spacers. There we go. Don't mind that I just used a torque wrench to loosen that. I didn't feel like grabbing the breaker bar. It was just covered in oil from the freaking fork seals. Hopefully the brake pads are still good, but they should be fine. If not, we'll replace them. All right, I got the calipers off. So we're just gonna slide the wheel out. Just like that, we got the wheel off. All right, so to remove the wheel, it's nothing special. I was just being special, but you just need to pull the pads apart a little bit more. And then once you do that, you can very carefully snake it out. It just gets stuck a little bit on this banjo, so you have to be very careful not to scratch the wheel. I was bumping it a little bit, but I just spread the pads a little bit more and then it came right off. But other side's pretty easy because the banjo doesn't make contact with the wheel, but this side's a little tight. Other than that, straightforward. Now we're gonna work on probably disconnecting the brake lines. I think that's the wheel speed sensor from the fork. And then after that, we'll work on probably removing the fender guard, and then we'll work on removing the actual fork itself. All right, so for now, I just zip tied the caliper up so that way it's out of the way. I'm gonna do the same for the other side. All right, so basically I got the caliper zip tied up right here. We're just gonna disconnect the bracket that's holding this in place, the hoses to the fender. And then from there, we'll go ahead and disconnect that fender. There we go. All right, and then I'll put the bolts back on for now so I don't lose them. That's very important to me, is to put the bolts back so that I don't lose anything. All right, so I bust out the caliper. We're gonna measure basically from the top of the perch, or top of the fork, to that's 18mm. So we'll write that down. So we'll try to get this at 18mm, and then I'll double check with the other side. So pretty much 18mm, we're gonna write down a few measurements. We're gonna check how tall it is from the top of the shock to the bottom of here. We'll keep this measurement. And then we're going to measure the compression and rebound. How many clicks, so that way we have an idea of what it was set at before we make any changes. All right, so basically I'm measuring the clicks out for the dampening. So I turned it all the way to the left based off of where it was currently set. It was 14 clicks. And I went back to that original setting, went all the way to the right. And from that setting, it was 11 clicks. So right now we're all the way to the right. So now we're going to go to the left. 1, 2, 3, 11. So that's where it should be set originally. So now we're going to keep going all the way till we bottom out. 1, 2. So it's about 14, 15 clicks out. So now we will do the preload. Just turning a whole lot. I think now I'm going to start loosening the bolts, and then from there we'll try to pop the top off, and then we'll try to take the fork off. Oh, that was easy. It wasn't on there very tight. There we go. We got the fork out. You can see how leaky it is. It's all leaking. We finally got the fork out, so now we can start rebuilding it. Ignore my ghetto stand. I don't have a fork tool holder or a vise currently, so this is the best we got. Look at that. This oil smells disgusting. So pretty much where I'm at is that I can't see the nut to release this. So what I need to do is loosen this until the nut comes down to where I can grab it through the window. So we're going to close it back up again and try to get this to where we can see the nut. Here we go, we can see the nut now. All right, there we go. Top hat is off. And then we have the dampening rod. Look at that. All right, we'll set these to the side. All right, I'm just gonna hold the shaft while I twist the nut. No diddy. There we go. I got it loose enough to where I can take it off now. Look at that. She's coming right off. There we go. Tension is off. That's gonna be fun to put back on though. We can take the spring out. Oh, this thing was low. It was leaking so much. It's pretty low in there. Let's look at this nasty oil. Oh, it wasn't crazy. Don't want to lose the pen. All right, so if you look here, I separated the fork from the tube. Pretty straightforward. It just slid right off. So now we can focus on changing out the seal on the actual tube itself. So we'll get to doing that now. We have to remove the old seal and then put the new ones in. All right, so first we're gonna remove the dust seal. It should just pop right off. Might need to pry it down a little bit. I don't want to mar up the finish. So I'm gonna be very gentle. There we go. There we go. And then the fork seals are right here. So we're gonna pop those out. And then I ordered a kit for some new fork seals. So it comes with a new dust seal and fork seal. So if we look here, we have a new dust seal, which is the same as the old one. So it has that like silver ring on it. So we'll be changing this out. And then this will be the seal itself that will go in the fork. All right, we got the clip out. All right, I got the fork seal out. It took a little bit of prying, but I just had to pry very hard, and it went shooting across the room. So if you're ever trying to take these off, it's on there pretty good. Now we're gonna get the tube cleaned up, and we're gonna get everything ready to be assembled. So let's get to it. All right, now that we got the fork ready to be assembled, let's get to work. I think the best way, I saw somebody else do this, so I'm gonna jack their idea. But to make sure that we don't mess up the seals when we insert them, we're going to put a bag over this. And then we're gonna take the new seals. Let's see if we can insert them over this. This bag's a little thick, so I don't know if we need a thinner bag. Yeah, we might need a thinner bag. That way we don't destroy our new seals. There we go, that worked out nicely. And then we'll take this one and wipe a little bit of oil around it so that slides on nicely. There we go, put a little bit right there. That way we keep the seal in good condition. So we'll slide them down like that. Now we don't need the bag anymore. Then we'll slide this bad boy back up in here. There we go. That way we can get the seal in there nicely. Now we will drive the seal in using this kit that I have. So we have a seal kit. Alright, so pretty much here's the issue I had. I couldn't get the stupid seal kit, or the stupid seal kit driver that I got. This thing is a piece of shit. I'm definitely returning this. It's just flopping around. I couldn't get it to work right. So basically what I ended up doing was cutting the old seal and then using that to drive in the new seal. Just hit it with a dead blow hammer. That worked perfectly. That was way better than using that stupid kit. That kit is trash. I guess if you're gonna get a seal kit, a seal driver kit, just get an actual metal kit or one that's one size only, because the whole split design with these inserted pieces is garbage. It didn't work. So now that I have this on, finally, it looks good. It looks like it's seated all the way. We're going to go ahead and put on this snap ring. There we go. Popped into place. No diddy. There we go. Nice and easy. Just like that. She's in there. Give it a couple pumps. Yeah, she's in there. All right, so pretty much I already got everything mostly assembled. I got the spring back in. I got the shock back in. It's all ready to go back together now. I got the top nut back on, which is a little bit of a struggle to kind of lift this up and compress the spring at the same time and put the nut on. But it seems like we're all there. So next, we're going to put the top cap back on. Give it a nice little easy twist. And then now we're going to hold the top nut while we tighten it. All right, now that we got the nut torqued down, we got it seated perfectly, we're going to close this baby up. That should be good. Once it's on the bike, I'll give it one more snug turn just to make sure that it's on there tight. But there we go. We got a nicely rebuilt fork. Sweet, and no leaks. Whew. It's a lot of effort. We're almost there though. Once we get this pushed up, we'll measure and make sure we get that to the correct height, and then we'll torque down the bolts. Oh, look at that. We got that perfect. We got it at 18 millimeters. All right, I'm happy with that. We got them at the same height, 18 millimeters. We'll go ahead and lock down the bolts. Torque down, we'll mark them with the paint marker and call it a day. Go ahead and mark these with the existing mark right there. Now we're gonna knock out the other side. All right, retaining clip is out. Now to get these stupid fork seals out. Whew! This thing flying across the garage. Alright, so basically what I did the first time, I don't remember if I filmed it all the way, but I pretty much took the fork seal like this. This is the bottom of it, this is the top. I basically, actually let me lube this up a little bit. Alright, I put a little bit of oil on here. But pretty much I just pushed it in, like so. And then once I got it to about there, I took my old fork seal, I basically cut it so that's easier to manipulate. And then we're gonna flip it around so the soft side is facing down. We're gonna take this hammer and just give it some nice gentle taps. All right, it's fully seated now. Now we're going to take the retaining clip and slide it on. You hear that? It's fully seated. This thing is super light too, it's full aluminum, but now that we have that on there, we can start reassembling everything. So pretty much here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the new dust seal, and we're going to, first let me lube this up a little bit. I don't want to rip the seals. All right, now that it's sufficiently lubed up so we don't destroy the seals, we're gonna very carefully insert the dust seal first. All right, dust seal's on. Gonna lube this up a little bit. Now that that's lubed up, we're going to insert it through the fork seal, but very slowly, don't judge me. There we go. Now that it's inserted, we can wipe down the excess. Magnificent. Time to take it for a test drive.